Good morning, everyone. I'm that dude over there in Fire Emblem Fates. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. No, in all actuality, I have mixed feelings on the Fire Emblem Fates trilogy. On one hand, Fates has a huge roster of characters and is surprisingly well built with complicated maps and a decent amount of challenge. On the other hand, the story sucks. I hate that we never know the name of this continent that the game takes place on, and Phoenix Mode was also introduced in this game. But despite my feelings on this game, I'm actually interested to see if we can complete this trilogy with 5 units. And if you're interested as well, I hope you enjoyed the watch. Now before we talk about the units, we have one phoenix-shaped elephant to address. Will not be using Phoenix mode at all in this playthrough. For one, it makes the game literally impossible to lose. So yeah, if you wanted an answer, yes, it is possible. But that's bullshit. So we'll be playing these games on Classic. Second, I think if I played all these games on the same difficulty, it would be so incredibly boring. So, for an extra challenge, we'll be playing each of these games on a different difficulty, based on my confidence in the run. So that means we'll be playing Conquest today on normal. Then, since Hoshido is proclaimed to be the easiest of the three, we'll be playing Birthright on Lunatic, ending with Revelations on hard. Before we cover the 5 units, I want to go over the first 6 or so chapters of the game. Since these chapters are basically the same in every playthrough, once we cover them, I won't do it again. Mostly because I'm scared of Chapter 5 Lunatic, but also because my units won't be the same on every route. So I consider this one a one and done kind of deal. So let's start off proper with Prologue. It feels great to be finally back in the series I love so much. So how do we begin? Well, we have to reset because I wasn't thinking of attack stance with Takumi. What a great start. But needless to say, we remember the next time and wipe out all of our foes on our own. Chapter 1. So the early maps aren't going to be all that fun to talk about, especially when this one only has Xander as an enemy, who has been nerfed to hell and back just so you can win the fight. Pretty boring fight, and if Xander doesn't start taking his meds, then we're going to be in loads of trouble in the long run. Chapter 2. Okay, this actually has something to talk about. This chapter is really hard to beat, and I did not want to waste time doing this on hard or classic. See, the problem with the early game maps on harder difficulties is that it strongly advises you to use everyone you have available. We'll see it mostly in late chapters, but in this chapter, trying to solo with Corrin is a pretty big mistake, considering the only source of healing is with Jacob or Felicia, or the Dragon Space tile. But if you open up the tile, then you have your enemies also restore on the tile. And it's not like we could have Jacob or Gunther throw out their weapons or trade them, since the only actions are attack, heal, or wait. Regardless, we use Corrin, I mean, that girl over there, and Jacob to make good work of these foes. Chapter 3. In Chapter 3, we farm as much experience as we can. We need to flood Our Lady and Jacob with a ton of experience, all in preparation for later maps. We even go after the Holy Guard of choke points that Hans gets himself killed on. I think this is supposed to be a stepping stone for the war's beginnings. Is there anything else I'm missing? Oh, yeah. Chapter 4. Oh, my head. Anyways, we wake up in Hoshido, and our first job is to save the royal princesses that are totally blood related to Our Lady. No, there isn't a note prepared by Mikoto. Stop gaslighting yourself. These are our blood related siblings. Anyway, this chapter is extremely rough since I have to solo this with only the girl. This is a bit of a spoiler, but Rinka and Kaze will never be used in any of the runs I do of this game. One reset after being careless and Ryoma abandoning me, and we successfully save the baby and the, You know what? Maybe we should have gotten them killed. Chapter 5. Okay, so this was the chapter I was alluding to with my decisions in Chapter 2. First off, Our Lady is effectively a glass cannon. big damage on player phase, but if she's in enemy range on enemy phase,
airstrikes. Bomb them. Bomb them. Keep bombing them. Bomb them again and again.
On top of that, on higher difficulties, the map sends loads of reinforcements designed to push all the units on the map to the brink and back. It's why I don't want to consider a true start till at least chapter 6. Like, I'm still going to use a few units, or at least my 5 for conquest here, so that way I could say that I could do it with all 5 units, technically speaking. Whatever, let's just talk about the chapter now. We sack off Sakura this chapter, and get Rinka and Kaze killed next, after having them trade their unusable weapons over. Meanwhile, Azura and Korin initiate the time-honored tradition of dance grinding. Conquest has a lot of terrifying maps, and if we aren't ready for them, we'll be really crying and possibly broke. I don't want to break my DLC rule I established in Awakening just because of my poor planning. So we have Azura dance. You know, ballet, twerking, hitting the gritty.
Bomb them!
All for the precious EXP gain that isn't probably worth it in the long run. And how long do we do this for? Till Azura hits the ripe level of 35, getting her all the skills she needs from the dancer line, so we never have to return here. And even after all this grinding, Azura still does jack shit to the guy who showed Hoshido the power of a nuclear bomb. So after we defeat the boss with our Scaly over there, we obtain the Sword of Destiny and make our way to Rendezvous against the forces of Nohr. Chapter 6. And here we are at the crossroads of destiny, meaning that this challenge really starts with the decision we make here. This is also where the video really begins, meaning that after this decision, we can talk about our 5 units proper. Now by this point, we've seen Garen try to kill me, or implicitly have me killed multiple times, and watched Hoshido suffer a terrorist attack that ended up killing their queen. So when the cards are down, is it really a wonder who we pick? Well, of course we picked Nohr. You see, this is simply a conspiracy. Hoshido wanted to kill Nohrians. However, because of the Queen's magic, it suppressed their violent urges to tear them to shreds. So they sat and thought of the best way to get around this. And their conclusion? Murder the Queen.
That sounds like a very dangerous idea that could very easily backfire.
And in chapter 6, we have to punish the bad Hoshidans who couldn't contain their bloodlust. So while this chapter plays in the background, I'll explain our 5 units. Obviously with the prior footage, I chose female Korin, Jacob, and Azura as 3 of my 5 units. I figure we're going to get the most use from Jacob's servant skill over Felicia's, considering the gender ratio of our team. Azura I already explained, and Korin's here with a ninja talent to provide lockpick support, along with being in a class that's fast and hits hard with hidden weapons, while getting all the buffs from eventual Shadow Yasuo. And finally, our last 2 units. I obviously chose Xander and Camilla. Camilla is such a great offense unit, while Xander is the strongest of our 4 Royals of Nohr. And hey, look at that, by the time I finished, Azura is already seeing us off, because Azura doesn't join us till later in the conquest route. Chapter 7. Our first objective upon returning to Nohr is to prove our loyalty by suppressing a rebellion in the Ice Tribe. And to get there, Garen sends our princess alone through the Woods of Forlorn. Unfortunately, we are ambushed by Faceless and saved by our other party member, Jacob. And this map already sucks because it's easy to get overwhelmed by the Faceless and their abilities to chip away at us. Thankfully, 4 faces join our roster to be thrown in the wood chipper. Look at that, one of them's a royal. Too bad Elise falls, but cannot die here. She has to watch her royal retainers, Silas, and many more die in the future of our conquest. Paralogue. A tragic start. That's foreboding as hell. But regardless, we use this map to funnel more experience into the party. Mozu can suck an egg for all I care, since her death has no meaning on the royal family. As we clear the map, Our Lady reaches level 13 and Jacob reaches level 12. Chapter 8. So let me be clear for a moment. Sorry, I had to get some water. No, but in all honesty, we're not getting the reward for this map. Jacob and the Dragon Princess over there are too slow to stop anyone from getting to the villages. So we save like, 2 at most. We get Odin and Niles this chapter, but honestly, who cares? Owain can go back to the Shadow Realm and Niles can join him. For some reason, I thought this map would have been harder. I must be hallucinating. Regardless, thanks to Jacob, we can clean up shop and clear the chapter. We reach an A rank support with Jacob, so it's only going to be one more chapter before Dwyer and Kana are thrown in the Deep Realms. Oh, wait, did I say one chapter? I think I meant one invasion, plus a moment of intimacy in the private quarters. Yeah, I'm not covering the invasion since it's just a battle in my castle, so on to the next chapter. Chapter 9. Chapter 9 brings back Azura, and how could you leave us? We missed you! Your raw strength stat will far eclipse anything we have right now. Maybe. So our objective is to save Azura and mop the floor with all the enemy generics, including the best one in the game, Haitaka. Oh, we also come across this sad lost lolly hiding in the corner, but her importance will come next chapter, just like everyone else who hasn't died yet. Except Elise, because fuck her, I guess. Wait. No, wait. Actually, don't. I need to phrase my words better. Before ending the chapter, we use a partner seal on Jacob to turn him into a mechanist. See, with the nature of something like 5 units runs, we're always going to have a unit without a support partner. If we needed a defense stand support. With Jacob going mechanist, we can replicate and put Jacob in twice as much danger for the wee price of 6 usable units. We then heart seal Azura into Falcon Knight, just so that way we have a healer with high mobility. Because trust me, next chapter we're going to need all the support we can get. I'm not kidding, we spend a good while in my castle as we prepare for the horror that is Paralogue Dragon Blood. That's right, Wait, Dragon's Blood? Okay, not where I thought this was going. Alright, well, if I had to guess why I decided to do this chapter, I would assume that's because I'm terrified of chapter 10, so wanting all the safety nets in the world, I decided to grind as much possible experience as I could. Azura can handle enough on her own, but I keep our mother over there with her husband for the support bonuses. Kana is pretty strong on his own, since he more or less became like his mom during the events of chapter 5, so the real challenge in this chapter is keeping everyone else alive. I know, real mind-shattering thought, but the map has some pretty dangerous enemies that could destroy my ass if I don't pay attention. And it doesn't help that Lloyd and Luluin also appear this chapter, along with, promoted reinforcements, simply to just put our team in check. For once, I actually had to engage with the map's gimmick just to ensure the safety of Azura and Jacob, and creating choke points for the MILF to defend. By the time we finish the chapter, Jacob gets replicate and we save his dragon son. Now we can get to the hard stuff with next chapter. Bro, I cannot wait to see Kana get thrown into the wood chipper.
I ain't no helicopter papa, sink or swim, bitch.
Paralogue. Fight or flight. And here we are, and god damn it, this isn't chapter 10. Well, I did say that I wanted to grind out as much experience as possible. The hardest part about this chapter is simply navigation. We can't move too fast because of hard-hitting ninjas and snipers that want to ground Azura for existing. Now, we could just kill the boss and be done with the chapter. Then what would be the point of playing the chapter? We need the experience. But with the completion of this map, we move on to the roadblock of Fire Emblem Conquest. Chapter 10. For real this time. Don't fuck with me, please. Chapter 10. With all the tonics poured into our allies and Takumi acting like an angsty brat, we begin one of the hardest chapters of Conquest. Honestly, the reason I had to delay killing people up until this point is because I figured with how much I'm gonna struggle here, I can get them all killed while buying time. Our mother handles the right wing offense to stop the archers from getting into the ballista. Azura and eventually Camilla grab the harder reach villages while Jacob grabs the closest village nearby. Eventually we remember Jacob has Replicate and get him to join Camilla and Azura on protecting the front line. With the constant swarm of enemies faltering in any area once is practically a death sentence. And with flyers that don't want to fuck off and HP dropping with Azura too busy to stop by and heal, I worry about an upcoming game over. But to my surprise, I forget what turn it is and achieve all I need to in order to clear the chapter. Turn 11 strolls on by and we rescue the villages for rewards and get a good number of people killed in the process, allowing us the victory and making Takumi storm off like a little bitch. But just like that, we cleared one of the hardest early game chapters. So in good spirits, let's continue on to Chapter 11. I think this map is pretty annoying overall, and that's just because I hate traversing it. It's neat, but having to go to a tile to traverse multiple levels is just annoying, especially when one of those sides has a Zama with the hexing rod. But on a positive note, we truly begin to shove all our unnecessary units into the wood chipper. Nyx falling, the Niles, Dwyer, Effie, Kana, and ending with Severa. Or Selena? Doesn't matter. Meaning we also killed off Nina, since she can now never be born. Along with Sophie, Ophelia, and Percy with the death of their respective fathers, Owain, Silas, and Arthur. I hope I didn't forget anyone. We end this chapter after defeating, but not killing, Hinoka. Because the common thing in this route, if the story doesn't say dead, they aren't dead. Oh, Kaze joins the team. Great. Chapter 12. Elise, who, if you'll remember, died in Chapter 7, comes back only to announce to the world that she has gotten sick. Our filicidal mother suggests putting the poor thing down, but Azura remembers there are herbs that we can use to fix her disease. But to our dismay, Ryoma appears. This isn't the part we're upset about. Really, it's because we get 2 more people to kill off, Inigo and Perry. Because they do the thing of protecting the dragon, they are punished with the capital punishment of death, along with Kaze for thinking we're the good guys. You know, Garen has a point about killing people. It's deserved if they get in the way. We wait until killing Kagero and Saizo before shattering all the pots, and I feel like I struggled a lot in this map, but things are progressing rather smoothly. I wonder why I... Never mind, now I remember. Nah, but hold on, I think I can do this. I don't need the Yato to be maxed out to make Ryoma commit seppuku. And on our next attempt, we have Azura dive bomb and kill the Hoshidan Prince in cold blood. Unfortunately, I did not kill the 5 units here, so we'll have to double up in the next chapter. Chapter 13. We arrive at Shev, or is it Chiv? Doesn't matter. Our goal is to punish Takumi again for showing up unannounced. Bro cannot hop off his revenge boner, and now brought another Hoshidan soldier to die with him. Unfortunately, we have a reset when I overestimate Jacob's defense against the Fujin Yumi. But thankfully Azura bombs him on the second attempt in a revenge kill. We manage to kill Kaze, Midori, Benny, Ignatius, Inigo, Soleil, Charlotte, Perry, and Scarlet in this chapter, while saving the villages from those abysmal Hoshidans. Ew. That's right, and I heard that Hans gave all the villagers a nice bed to lie in after visiting. What a wholesome guy. Back in my castle, we heart sealed Jacob into a Master Ninja and forged the appropriately named axe for Camilla. That axe. Chapter 14. Hey, I know this chapter. This is the one where Garen busts a nut after watching Azura dance. We also get the chance to murder Leo and his femboy son, and Keaton and his fairy tale inspired daughter. This map is pretty long and uneventful. We blitz through the map just so we can avoid the furry chasing after us. Leo shows us he's not a bad guy and gives us the bad Yato. And you can tell it's bad because it's feeling grim. Boo! But we don't get to enjoy Jacob or Camilla's company after this chapter because... Chapter 15. This chapter has 3 units and one of them is Gunter. Bro, Gunther died back in Chapter 3. Chapter 3. So needless to say, after getting sucked down the magical toilet, our Princess in Black must work together with the Water Maiden to beat the boss. Now that doesn't mean I'm abandoning the other objective, it's just an insurance policy. If Azura and the Lizard can't do it, we'll move on, but if not, well, then it ends. But we don't have to worry, because with some light planning, we defeat the boss and recruit Felicia to the team. And no, nobody invited her, she just decided to do it out of her own free will. Chapter 16. This boat map has us fighting for gold that we are desperate to claim, but we are joined by our final unit, Xander. Our objective isn't just to get gold thanks to a low turn count, but we also want to get rid of Gunther and Felicia. Xander is strong enough to fight on his own, unlike our butler who is finally starting to fall off. Not to say that Jacob can't fight, he's quite strong actually. But if someone throws a rock at him, he's going down faster than a corn sexual at the sight of their beloved. We managed to secure 8,500 gold before one-rounding Shura with the dynamic trio of Jacob, his wife, and Camilla. Now we finally get the chance to either kill Shura or spare him. Sparing Shura means we get the killer bow and the men's staff, but it means we have to try and kill him later. But killing him gives us boots. Hard decision. Is Shura's life worth a killer bow, which is kind of worthless, and a men's staff, which is kind of good? Or boots that will allow us to move farther? Definitely the boots. Chapter 17. Can I say, I absolutely hate ninjas. We have the traps to go around and debuffs, and man, I hate this map. I wonder how Saizo feels about the people who killed his brother. Does he think we deserve a bad time? Hard to say. I'll ask him after he's done treating the hole in his chest. We take the map really slow and shuffle across, able to take our time as we slowly slaughter the rats that hide in the shadows. After clearing Invasion 2, we move on to the next map. No problems, no casualties. Chapter 18. The plot of this chapter can be explained with the small clip from Viva Reverie.
Oh my god, I just had the dumbest idea.
So we can end this war really quickly, but Xander says no because this plan is dishonorable. Since when has Nor ever been honorable in any form? Really, I mean, our future queen is the one bringing change, y'all are just riding on her coattails. Honestly, the hardest part about this map is the time limit of 20 turns. We have to try and play aggressively, but the enemies on the map counter a lot of aggressive plays without getting incredibly punished. Our solution was to send Camilla and a replica of Jacob down to save Ryoma using the power of a hammer and our iconic bolt axe. Meanwhile, the real Jacob, Azura, Xander, and our idiot with red hair go off to get the chest and deal with Zola. We have a fun meal afterwards with both families, and this reads as, "Hey, I bet you want some revelation to get them to work together." Ha ha ha! Fuck you. Chapter 19. Kitsune map. Time to skin the furries alive, is what I would say if I could actually hit them. The Kitsune have a gimmick this chapter where they occasionally just become shadow clones. Thanks to Azura and Camilla, we can use the mountain terrain to its full advantage. We purposely underdeploy this chapter, leaving Jacob behind, just so we can fully take advantage of Camilla and Azura wiping out all the foxes, with the foxes unable to fight back. Camilla and Azura managed to soak up a lot of experience, obviously, but nothing too crazy happened. Chapter 20. Woo! Time for the best map in the game. This isn't a lie or some kind of bullshit. It's Fuga's Wild Ride. I mean, who doesn't love having little to no control over how you move on the map? I especially love fighting Fuga, who debuffs defenses just because you decide to want to chip at him. Seriously, fuck this map. Luckily, Camilla comes in to sweep him with the power of the bolt axe. Chapter 21. only thing better than Fuga's map is the map that comes right afterward. The Eternal Staircase is so needlessly annoying, and like most people who play this map, I just skip by low deploying and escaping. We also give Camilla a spare pair of bloody boots to help her scale the map in a relatively faster fashion. This map takes us a total of 4-ish turns, but with the end of this map, we begin to approach the end, because now each chapter here is character focused. One for each Hoshida Noble, one for Hans and Yago, finally ending with Garen. So let's finish the Conquest Route, starting with Chapter 22. Sakura, but unlike Ogami, will go down easy. The problem is getting there. 2 of our 5 units have pretty low defense, which equates to having half our team suck at taking a hit. This really sucks too, because we have to reset near the end of the map because Jacob takes a hit from a blacksmith with a throwing weapon. So after a quick return to my castle to purchase more healing staves for Azura, we play this map again. Like the Lord of Lines once said, we kill every last one of them. But not really because our blood trader says so. That is until Garen shows up and tells Hans to actually kill everyone, with the exception of Sakura. After forging Camilla's axe to the Troy Bolton, we move on to the next chapter. Chapter 23. This chapter admittedly took me longer to complete than I care to admit. Because of how many ballista and archers there are, it makes using Camilla and Azura a hassle to use. On top of that, it's hard to throw Xander or that unqualified mother in because of the heavy use of lances. But don't even bring up Jacob at this point, because he can barely take a hit from anything here, adopting the full power of the ninja and the glass cannon archetype. So our first 2 resets come with Azura being shot down and Jacob being unable to take a hit. Third attempt, Azura dies again, but not before evading 3 shots from above. I don't know if it's because Xander was nearby, but I just think it's hilarious that Azura couldn't die to her natural weakness multiple times in a row. After the 4th attempt, I did something I didn't think I had to do. For the first time in a long while, I bought tonics to increase our stats. But on top of that, by the 5th attempt, I actually begin relying on defense stance pair-ups. I had been relying on attack stance for so long that I forgot that defense stance actually exists for the sole purpose of powering you up even further and, absorbing 1 free hit. We get so much farther in this run than before, and we finally reclass our potential queen into a master ninja to get ourselves some lethality and power. I always found that hidden weapons were the most powerful weapons, just because of the debuffs they can provide. It's part of the reason why Jacob hasn't left the Master Ninja line despite having all the skills from both branches. But with all that said, we finally route the map all before sending Camilla to seize. We watched Takami's attempt to reclass into Kinchi Knight, but unfortunately, he forgot he needed a mount before jumping off the wall. And with the completion of this map, Azura and Xander finally get married. Which means Paralogue, surprise duet. The Shigure Paralogue and our mini arc of light grinding and conquest. Starting this chapter, I want to talk about path bonuses. See, in FE Fates, you get rewards in the crystal ball depending on whether or not you bought the other route. Now, obviously, we are doing Birthright and Revelations eventually, sooner than you probably think. But you could consider these rewards as DLC, since you only get them by having all 3 routes in one game. But my argument is, path bonuses shouldn't count, since it's not through the Dragon's Gate. I feel like the Dragon's Gate is the doorway that shows I needed DLC. Meanwhile, the crystal ball in my castle is just part of the base game. You can't turn it off, and it's ever present. If you get a new copy of Fates, you will always have the crystal ball, but you will never have access to the Dragon's Gate. All this to say, I wanted to use all the tools given to me to complete this challenge. And that's to say that Xander and Jacob become dread fighters starting like 5 minutes ago. I completely forgot that you just needed to kill the boss in this chapter, so I don't end up routing the map. Shit. Oh well. Paralogue, hidden bravery. Let's be real, I'm just using this map to get more experience. We speedrun killing Shigure and Sigbert by charging them into the enemy, Sigbert having his weapons tossed since I didn't know if I could reach him before he got swamped. We rely solely on defense stance for this chapter, mostly because the reinforcements can get to be a bit too much if you take your time. And since we aren't progressing the fastest way through, we'll need the time to get from point A to point B. With the map quickly finished, we go to the smithy and forge our assassin a brick and a cement block for Jacob. With this chapter completed, aside from maybe another invasion, we proceed to the final 5 chapters, ending with Chapter 24. Alright, time to kill, not kill, the forgotten sister of Hoshido, Hinoka. We play this map pretty slowly. The biggest problem with bum rushing the Hoshidan's forgotten princess is that Azama is right there with the hexing rod, ready to punish us. Our plan was to send Xander to deal with Azama, but not only did he not do enough damage, but he also got railed like a motherfucker on counterattack. But thankfully, after several turns of Xander stalling and wiping out enemy reinforcements with Jacob and his wife hiding behind a tree, we finally kill Azama. Then move to kill Hinoka, allowing us to seize the map after a bunch of healing EXP. Chapter 25. The fabled map that spawned the most iconic line of this game. Ryoma waiting patiently for 25 turns. Honestly, if we really wanted, I'm sure I could have killed Ryoma this chapter with just his opponent locked in the room. But there are like 2 random ass chests guarded by Saizo and Kagero. And part of me that knows what the end game is gonna look like is pressure to get these chests, even if it was only 10,000 gold and the silent staff. So while Ryoma's opponent continued to whittle him down with daggers, Camilla, Xander, Jacob, and Azura decimate Kagero's pathway. I consider going for the silent staff, but I don't think Azura would have been able to use it by endgame, or the chapter where she needs it. You know, next chapter. So after killing Kagero, we have our husband and wife slaughter Ryoma in cold blood, with the help of Azura. And Ryoma attempts to give himself surgery because his sister, not only married the butler, but also didn't grab the silent staff. Chapter 26. Now, obviously, we couldn't leave Iago and Hans alive. Like any valuable ally, they too must be executed because they aren't part of our 5 units. We finally use all our stat boosters we've been saving till this point, solely because we have to deal with Iago and his long-range infinite use stabs. And what do you know? Someone has the hexing rod, or the Nohrian equivalent. What is it? The enfeeble staff or something? Anyway, we decide to go down the faceless route, because I do not want to go off against combat stabs. Not only are they scary, but it will just give me a headache trying to go around. Kind of like the one I'm having right now. We have to reset the first attempt because Xander takes way too many hits. After taking a night to sleep, we come back and refine our brick into the cement brick EX, and try again. We end up resetting right away to a Jacob loss, reset again to a Camilla loss when Iago uses the enfeeble staff, and our next attempt has us moving as slow as possible to prevent a misplay and to avoid Iago with the stupid fucking staff. God. But this time, Hans decides to go beep beep and shoves his axe in between Camilla's comically sized honkers. Finally though, on our last attempt, we break in and throw a brick at Iago's head to make him shut up and stop being such a disgusting, unwashed, greasy ass freak. So you know, the average Reddit mod. Chapter 27. For these next 2 maps, we prepare every way we can. We buy 10 of all the tonics, so that way we can be roided for this map and the next map. We buy 2 Eternal Seals for Camilla and her sister. Camilla makes a meal that gives everyone an additional 1 defense and res, along with an additional point of strength, defense, and a 3rd thing for all female units. Selling off Ogilmir and Excalibur so we can buy an additional Seraph Robe and Reiko Shield for Azura and a talisman for Xander. We even optimized Jacob and his wife's skills, all because I know the map after this one will be fucked royally. So we need to be as prepared as possible. It also means that this map will most likely be easy as hell. We unlock the full power of the Yato, making it the Shadow Yato. Huh, I thought it would have been the Fire Emblem, but I guess that's just the Yato itself or whatever. Oh, and yeah, we also watch Garen become a sludge monster. That's cool. Man, I feel bad for Garen. Doesn't he know Poison and Dark isn't very effective against Dark Dragon? We one-shot the beast with the Yato and clear the map. We're about to claim victory when suddenly Takumi returns, fueled by the power of grape soda. Truly the most revolting of flavors. But his angsty grape-flavored bow is able to shatter the Shadow Yato and officially kill our moral protagonist. Endgame. Night breaks through. After learning how to beat the power of grape soda from the Lobster Lord, our dead not mom, and a version of Takumi who bought the $30 DLC instead of drinking purple flurp, the Princess of Nor revives herself, finally becoming the Fell Dragon Child. Shadow Yato lives up to its name and repairs itself with its ghostly powers. Anyway, going full mask off here, I hate this map. I hate the endless reinforcements, I hate the enemies with a feeble, I hate that reverse Takumi starts on the opposite side of a long hallway. I mean, God, I hate this as an endgame map. We leave Camilla, and Xander, and Jacob to die as we ruthlessly guide our ghastly deity towards the end of the run. And together, fueled by the power of God and edgy anime, we defeat Takumi and wonder where the hell Azura went.
Are you alright? This and now!
We watch a cutscene where our soul survivor joins the reanimated corpses of her family and finish conquest with 5 units. Ah, what a satisfying ending. Well, now what? Oh shit. I have a bad feeling about this. And with that said, Conquest, even on the lowest difficulty, gave me quite the challenge. I was going in thinking I would steamroll everything, and while there were a few maps like this, a lot of them gave me quite the run up for my money. And boy, am I not looking forward to the next episode in this, because we play Birthright with 5 units on Lunatic difficulty. I mean, people do say this is the easiest of the 3 games, so it won't be that much of a challenge, right? And if you want to see me cry and scream as I get dragged down the generic hero route of Hoshido, let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, leave a like and subscribe, as it helps idiots like me who suck at promoting videos. But you know, until next time, stay safe out there.